Good morning. My name is Rick Lovall, and I'm a leadership consultant based out of Sikeston, Missouri. I want to talk to you today about the difference between being character-driven and being emotionally driven. A lot of people like to think they're driven by good character traits, whether it's integrity or doing what's best for others, whatever that might be. You think you're driven by character, but not realizing you may actually be more driven by your emotions. And I'm going to use some input from John Maxwell, famous author and leadership guru. He has a great comparison chart that he uses, and I draw from that. One of the things is character-driven people are commitment-driven. If they make a commitment, they're going to do it, just because their word stands behind it. Whereas emotionally driven people, they're being driven by convenience. What's the easiest thing for me to do? What makes me feel the best? What doesn't require a whole lot of work and effort? Commitment versus convenience. Again, the difference between good character traits and emotionally driven traits. One of the other things, those driven by character also create momentum. They just have a way of establishing a cause that they're going to stick to, and they build momentum based on that. They're driven every day to work toward that cause. Whether it's the improvement of their family, their personal life, it's for a nonprofit effort, whatever it may be for, they're driven by that cause. And because of that, they create momentum. Whereas emotionally driven people are driven by waiting for the momentum to happen. They are those who jump on the bandwagon of something. And as soon as the wagon slows down and they're not comfortable anymore, maybe things aren't going just as well as they thought it should have went, they jump off the bandwagon. They're being driven by their emotions. They're being driven by the quick fix and the quick dollar. Whereas character-driven people, they say, no, we're going to stick to this. I'm committed to this. I am going to do this. And when you stay committed to something, you actually begin to create momentum. And you're not driven by the highs and lows of something. Speaking of that, character-driven people are steady people, steady-minded. They're the ones that when everything's going crazy, they're able to keep a level head, be able to think straight through a process. Whereas emotionally driven people, very moody. They have mood swings, ups and downs, highs and lows, driven by extreme highs, driven by extreme lows, whatever it may be. I challenge you today, don't allow yourself to be driven by your extreme highs or extreme lows. Statistics prove you cannot function at a high level for a lengthy period of time when you're driven by your emotions. But those who are steady and they learn to just go with ebbs and flows and they don't get real high and they don't get real low, you'll find those are the people that are producing more. And then finally, character-driven people, they continue when problems arise. Problems are not viewed as great barriers or great obstacles. They're viewed as stepping stones, leading tools, learning points, things like that. Whereas emotionally driven people, they quit. They don't like how they feel. They don't like the resistance. They don't like the conflict that they feel inside, and so they just stop and they back away from it. And that's because they're driven by their emotions. And one of the things that we look at, we like to think, well, I think I'm driven by character. But yet when we start looking at the traits of those who are driven by their emotions and we see, oh my goodness, I do that. Or, sometimes when in certain situations, I find myself doing that. I challenge you today to identify these things, because the first step in overcoming anything, if you're going to become more of a character-driven person and you want to overcome being driven by your emotions, you have to identify what it is that you're up against. What exactly is it? And you may say, you know what, when things get tough, I do have a tendency to fly off the handle. I say things I shouldn't say. You have to recognize that and realize that's a red flag for you. And so when you're in a tough situation, you have to stop, reassess, rethink yourself and say, no, I'm going to be driven by character. I'm going to be driven by my integrity. I'm going to be driven by that, and I'm going to stick to that. I'm going to stand behind it no matter what else is happening around me. And I encourage you today, learn more about this. Read John Maxwell's book, Developing the Leader Within You, or other books that are out there that deal with this subject, and be determined to be driven by your character and not by your emotions. Thank you.